It was a warm afternoon on the university campus. The sun was shining, students were laughing, and the air was full of excitement. In the middle of this busy place, a group of boys sat together in the cafe. They were the popular ones, always loud, always laughing, and always looking for fun. Among them was Ryan. Tall, confident, and handsome, Ryan was the kind of boy everyone noticed. He loved attention, and more than that, he loved challenges. For him, life was a game. He believed he could get anything he wanted. As the boys joked and teased one another, one of them leaned forward and said with a sly smile, "Ryan, you think you can impress any girl, right?" Ryan smirked. "Of course. You already know that." The boy laughed and then pointed across the cafe. "What about her?" Everyone turned to look. Sitting alone at the corner table was Emma. She was different from the others. She wasn't wearing heavy makeup, she wasn't trying to grab attention, and she wasn't laughing loudly. She sat quietly with a book in her hand, her hair falling on her face, her world peaceful and simple. Ryan glanced at her and then shrugged. "Her? That will be too easy." No, his friend interrupted. "Emma is not like the other girls. She doesn't talk to boys, she doesn't care about parties, and she doesn't run after anyone. If you can make her fall in love with you, we'll believe you are truly the best." The group burst into laughter. But one boy leaned closer and whispered, "Let's make it more fun. Not just love. Make her marry you. That's the real challenge." For a moment, Ryan was quiet. Then a slow, confident smile spread across his face. He leaned back in his chair and crossed his arms. "Marry her? You really think I can't do that?" The boys laughed again. "If you succeed, you win the bet. If not, you'll have to admit you're not as charming as you claim." Ryan's eyes sparkled with mischief. "Fine. Challenge accepted." He glanced at Emma again. She was still reading, unaware that her life had just become the center of a cruel game. That night, Ryan lay in his bed thinking about the bet. For him, it was exciting. He had always loved proving himself. He thought of Emma not as a person but as a test he had to win. In his mind, he already imagined how easy it would be. She looks shy. She looks innocent. Girls like her, they're always waiting for someone to notice them, he told himself. This will be simple. But what Ryan didn't know was that Emma was not waiting for anyone. She was happy in her small world. She had dreams of her own, quiet, gentle dreams of becoming a teacher, of helping children, of living a peaceful life. She had no idea that someone was watching her with such dangerous intentions. The next day, Ryan made his first move. He walked into the library, pretending to look for a book. There she was again, Emma, sitting at a corner table, lost in her notes. He slowly walked toward her. "Hi," he said with a smile. Emma looked up, surprised. She rarely talked to strangers, especially boys like him. "Hi," she replied softly. "I think you dropped this," Ryan said, holding out a pen he had picked up from the table next to hers. It wasn't hers, but Emma didn't know that. She smiled politely. "Thank you." That smile, it was small, but it was real. And Ryan felt a strange thrill. The game had started. He walked away, but in his heart he thought, this will be fun. Days passed. Ryan continued his little acts, helping her carry books, holding doors open, asking small questions about studies. Slowly, Emma began to notice him. She still didn't know why he was giving her attention, but she believed he was kind. At the cafe, his friends watched from a distance and laughed quietly. "Look at him. He's actually doing it. Do you think she'll really fall for it? Wait and see. Ryan never fails." And Ryan, confident as ever, told himself, "They'll all see. I'll win this bet. She'll be mine." But deep inside, something unexpected had already begun. For the first time in his life, Ryan wasn't chasing money, or status, or parties. He was chasing a person. A real person, with real emotions. He didn't care yet. He thought it was just part of the game. But life has a strange way of turning games into lessons. Emma had no idea. She was innocent, her heart still pure. She thought maybe, just maybe, someone was finally noticing her for who she was. The cafe clock ticked, the library lights flickered, and two lives were slowly moving toward a story neither of them had expected. And as Ryan walked out of the library that evening, he looked back once, smiled to himself, and whispered under his breath, "She'll be mine, no matter what." Days turned into weeks, and Ryan continued his game. What started with small gestures soon became a daily routine. He made sure Emma noticed him everywhere, at the cafe, in the library, even during lectures. He always carried that same confident smile, as if the world belonged to him. At first, Emma thought it was just coincidence. But slowly, she realized Ryan was not like the others. He was always there, always kind, always listening. One afternoon, Emma sat in the library with her notebook open. Her pen had run out of ink, and she sighed softly. Ryan, who had been sitting at the next table, leaned over immediately. "Need a pen?" he asked, holding one out. Emma looked up, surprised again. "Oh, thank you." Ryan smiled. "Any time." It was such a small thing, but for Emma, it felt different. She wasn't used to people noticing her struggles. She wasn't used to kindness from strangers. Ryan played his part well. He started asking about her studies. He complimented her handwriting, her choice of books, even the way she tied her hair. "You're always so focused," he said one day. "Most people don't even care about their studies. But you're different." Emma blushed. Nobody had ever told her something like that. The more Ryan praised her, the more Emma opened her heart. She began to wait for him, though she never admitted it to herself. A smile spread across her face whenever she saw him walking toward her. And Ryan. He smiled too, but for him, it was still a game. At least, that's what he told himself. One rainy evening, Emma was walking home without an umbrella. The sky was dark, and rain poured heavily. Suddenly, a car stopped beside her. The window rolled down, and there was Ryan. "Get in," he said. Emma hesitated. "No, it's fine. I can walk." "You'll catch a cold," Ryan insisted. "Please, just get in." After a moment, Emma sat inside. Ryan gave her his jacket and smiled. "You should take better care of yourself." Her heart beat faster. She tried to hide her smile, but deep down, she was touched. For Ryan, it was another successful move. His friends had told him, "Make her believe you care. Girls love that." And he was doing exactly that. Time passed, and soon Ryan and Emma were spending hours together. They shared coffee, they studied side by side, they walked home after class. Emma began to trust him more than anyone else. One night, they sat on a park bench, the stars shining above. Emma spoke about her dreams, how she wanted to teach children, how she wanted a simple and honest life. Ryan listened carefully, nodding. "You'll be amazing," he said. "You have such a good heart, Emma." Tears filled Emma's eyes. Nobody had ever said those words to her before. She turned her face away, but Ryan gently held her hand. "Don't cry," he whispered. Emma looked at him, her heart full. She didn't know it was all part of the act. For her, this was love. Weeks later, Ryan decided it was time for the next step. His friends were waiting. They teased him constantly. "Did she fall for you yet? Is she in love? When are you going to finish the bet?" Ryan laughed, pretending it was easy. But something strange had started happening inside him. Every time Emma smiled, a part of him felt warm. Every time she laughed, he felt lighter. He shook his head, pushing those thoughts away. "It's just a game," he told himself. "Don't get carried away." Finally, one evening, Ryan looked at Emma seriously. They were standing near the old library, the sunset painting the sky with gold and red. "Emma," he said softly, "I want to tell you something." She looked at him, waiting. I think I'm in love with you. Her heart skipped a beat. The world felt silent. For a moment, she couldn't believe her ears. You love me, she whispered. Yes, Ryan said, holding her hands. I've never felt this way before. You're the most special person I've ever met. Emma's eyes filled with tears, this time of pure happiness. She nodded slowly. I love you too. Ryan smiled, but deep inside, there was a strange feeling. It was supposed to be victory. He had won her heart. But why did it feel so heavy? Months passed, and their relationship grew stronger. Or at least, Emma thought so. She gave her whole heart, trusting Ryan completely. She told him secrets she had never shared with anyone. She dreamed of a future with him. And then, one quiet evening, Ryan did the unthinkable. He went down on one knee, holding a small ring. His friends had dared him to take the bet to the end, and now he was ready. Emma, he said, looking into her eyes, will you marry me? Emma gasped, covering her mouth with her hands. Tears streamed down her face as she nodded. Yes, Ryan. Yes, I will. Ryan slipped the ring onto her finger. She hugged him tightly, her heart bursting with joy. For Emma, it was the most beautiful moment of her life. For Ryan, it was the moment he had proved his power. But little did he know, this victory was about to destroy everything. The wedding day came faster than Emma had ever dreamed. It was a small, simple ceremony. Emma wore a white dress, her eyes full of love and innocence. Ryan stood proudly beside her, charming as always. To everyone, they looked like the perfect couple. But hidden behind Ryan's confident smile was the dark truth. This was never about love. This was about winning a cruel bet. Emma, however, was glowing. She felt blessed. After years of loneliness, she finally believed someone had chosen her, someone wanted her forever. She held Ryan's hand tightly, whispering to herself, "This is my happily ever after." The vows were said, the rings were exchanged, and the crowd clapped with joy. Emma's heart was bursting with happiness. Ryan's friends smirked in the back, exchanging silent looks. For them, this was entertainment. For Emma, it was life. That night, after the wedding celebration, Emma sat in their new home, still in her wedding dress, staring at the ring on her finger. She smiled through happy tears. Everything felt like a dream. Ryan, on the other hand, excused himself to the balcony. His phone buzzed with a new message. He opened it carelessly, not realizing Emma was nearby. The message flashed on the screen. "Congrats, man. You did it. You actually married her. You won the bet." Ryan laughed softly, shaking his head. "Told you all. No one can beat me." Those words cut through the night like a knife. Emma had walked closer, ready to hug him, when she stopped in shock. Her eyes fell on the glowing screen. Her ears caught every cruel word he spoke. The ground under her feet felt like it had disappeared. The man she trusted with her soul had been playing with her life. Emma stepped back quietly, her face pale, her body trembling. She wanted to scream, she wanted to cry, but no voice came out. Instead, silent tears rolled down her cheeks, smudging her wedding makeup. She covered her mouth, afraid Ryan might hear her sobs. Her heart felt heavy, broken into 1,000 pieces. All the moments they shared, the flowers, the long walks, the promises under the stars, flashed before her eyes. And now, she realized it was all a lie. Her love had been nothing more than a joke to him. A bet between friends. Ryan came inside, looking relaxed. "Emma," he said, "why are you sitting in the dark?" Emma quickly wiped her tears and forced a weak smile. "Nothing. I was just thinking." Ryan didn't notice. He walked past her, humming, acting as if nothing had happened. Emma stared at him, her heart bleeding, but she stayed silent. That night, while Ryan slept peacefully beside her, Emma lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Every word from the message repeated in her mind like a cruel echo. Congrats, man. You won the bet. The next morning, Emma looked at herself in the mirror. Her eyes were swollen from crying, but her face had changed. She was no longer the same innocent girl. She whispered to her reflection, her voice breaking, "He thinks he won. But he has no idea what's coming." Emma decided not to confront Ryan immediately. She didn't want to give him the satisfaction of seeing her broken. Instead, she wore a mask, smiling, talking softly, pretending everything was fine. But inside, she was planning. Days passed, and Ryan noticed nothing. He believed Emma was completely his. He still met his friends, boasting about how easily he had fooled her. "She's madly in love," he laughed one evening. "She'll never know the truth." But Emma already knew. And with each passing day, her heart grew stronger. She stopped crying at night. Instead, she began writing in her diary, her pain, her anger, her determination. "I will not let this destroy me," she wrote. "He broke me, but he will not control me. I will rise again." One evening, Ryan returned home to find Emma sitting quietly with her books. She looked calm, almost peaceful. "You know," Ryan said casually, "I never thought marriage would be this easy." Emma forced a small smile. "Yes. Easy." Inside, her heart screamed. But she stayed silent, watching him, studying him, memorizing every careless word. Ryan had no idea the woman in front of him was no longer the same Emma he thought he had tricked. The story of their marriage had just begun. But Emma's love story had already ended. Now, what remained was something else, something Ryan would never expect. For Emma, this was no longer about love. This was about strength. This was about reclaiming herself. She looked at Ryan one last time that night as he laughed over his phone, chatting with his friends. She smiled faintly, not out of love, but out of resolve. In her heart, she whispered, "One day, Ryan, you'll regret this." And with that, the shattered pieces of her heart began to form something new, something unbreakable. Weeks turned into months. On the outside, Emma looked like the same gentle wife, quiet, polite, and loving. But inside, she was changing. Her broken heart was slowly rebuilding itself into something stronger. Every morning, when Ryan left for work, Emma sat with her diary. She wrote everything she felt, her pain, her anger, her hopes. Writing became her medicine. Slowly, she started to see herself differently. "I am not weak," she wrote one day. "He fooled me, yes. But I will not stay a victim. I will rise." And she meant it. Emma began focusing on her studies again. She had always dreamed of becoming a teacher, of inspiring children. She secretly applied for a teaching course in the city. She didn't tell Ryan, because he wouldn't care. He was too busy showing off to his friends. At first, balancing everything was hard. Emma would study late at night after Ryan had gone to bed. She would wake up early, cook breakfast, and then prepare her notes. Her body was tired, but her spirit was alive. Every small achievement gave her strength. The first time she passed a test, she smiled at herself in the mirror. "I can do this," she whispered. Meanwhile, Ryan started noticing changes too, but he didn't understand them. Emma no longer asked him where he was going. She didn't wait by the window for him to come home. She didn't call him again and again like she used to. Instead, she seemed busy, calm, independent. At first, Ryan enjoyed it. "She trusts me so much," he told his friends proudly. "She doesn't even question me." But slowly, his pride turned into confusion. Why wasn't Emma giving him the same desperate attention anymore? Why did she look happier when she was alone with her books than when she was with him? One evening, Ryan came home and found Emma reading. She looked up and smiled politely. "You're late," she said softly, and then returned to her book. Ryan frowned. "That's it? No questions? No anger?" Emma shook her head. "No. You must have been busy." Her calmness unsettled him. He had expected tears or drama. But Emma was no longer the same woman who once cried in silence for his love. As months passed, Emma's transformation grew. She finished her course and started working as a teacher. The first day she stood in front of a class full of children, her heart swelled with pride. She finally felt useful, strong, and alive again. Her students adored her. They called her Miss Emma with bright smiles, and she gave them hope, patience, and love. Every day, she returned home tired but satisfied. For the first time, her happiness did not depend on Ryan. Ryan noticed this too. He started feeling restless. The woman he had once treated like a joke was now glowing in ways he couldn't understand. At parties, his friends teased him. "Your wife looks different these days. She's prettier now, more confident. You better be careful, Ryan, or someone else will notice her." Ryan laughed on the outside, but inside, a strange fear grew. One evening, Emma received an award at her school for being the most inspiring teacher. She stood on the stage, holding the trophy, her eyes shining with tears, not of pain, but of pride. Ryan sat in the audience, clapping slowly. For the first time, he looked at her not as a bet, not as a victory, but as someone far beyond his reach. His heart ached in a way he had never felt before. "What is happening to me?" he thought. "Why do I care so much now?" That night, Ryan tried to talk to her. "You've changed," he said quietly. Emma looked at him with calm eyes. "Yes. I had to." Ryan swallowed hard. "Emma, I think I really love you." For the first time, Emma did not feel her heart skip. She simply nodded. "Thank you." Her cold but gentle reply crushed him. He had expected her to melt into his arms like before. Instead, she walked away, leaving him alone with his guilt. Ryan lay awake that night, staring at the ceiling. Memories of their beginning came back to him. The laughter, the flowers, the walks. Back then, he had seen it as a game. But now, those same memories burned him with regret. For the first time, Ryan realized the truth. He had fallen in love with the very woman he had once betrayed. But it was too late. Emma no longer needed him. The next morning, Emma left early for work, wearing a confident smile. Ryan watched her from the doorway, his chest heavy with emotions he couldn't name. He whispered to himself, "She was never the bet. She was the prize. And I lost her." Ryan was no longer the same man. The pride in his voice, the arrogance in his eyes, the careless laughter with his friends, all of it had started to fade. Every day, he watched Emma grow brighter, stronger, and more distant. The woman who once clung to his every word now walked past him with calm grace. She no longer asked for his attention, no longer cried for his love. She had built a life that didn't need him. And for the first time in his life, Ryan felt powerless. One evening, unable to carry the weight anymore, Ryan decided he had to confess. He waited for Emma to return from work. When she entered, her hands full of books, he stood up nervously. "Emma," he began, his voice shaky, "I need to talk to you." She placed her books on the table, and looked at him with quiet patience. "Yes, Ryan." He swallowed hard, his heart racing. "I was a fool. I was arrogant. When I first came to you, it was all a bet. I know you know that now. But Emma, please believe me, I never expected to fall in love with you. I never expected you to change me. But you did. And now I love you. Truly." His voice broke as tears filled his eyes. "I don't deserve forgiveness, but I beg for it. Please, give me one more chance." The room was silent. Ryan's words hung in the air, heavy with regret. Emma looked at him, her face calm and unreadable. She remembered the nights she had cried herself to sleep, the pain of discovering the truth, the endless hours of pretending. Finally, she spoke softly. "Ryan, you destroyed something that can never return. You didn't just lie to me, you broke my trust. You made my love into a joke. Do you know how that feels?" Ryan lowered his head in shame. "I know. And I hate myself for it." Emma continued, her voice steady but gentle. Yes, I know you have changed. I can see it. But Ryan, I have changed too. The girl who once waited for you, who once believed in you blindly, she is gone. Ryan's eyes widened, fear rushing through him. Emma, please, I can be better. I'll spend my life making it up to you. She shook her head. A small, sad smile touched her lips. I forgive you, Ryan. Truly, I do. Because carrying hate in my heart will only hurt me. But forgiveness does not mean I can be with you. My heart is free now. My life is mine again. And I will not go back. Her words were soft, but they cut deeper than any anger. Ryan's knees weakened. He fell onto the couch, burying his face in his hands. Tears spilled down, real and uncontrollable. He had won the bet, but he had lost the woman forever. Emma picked up her books and walked toward the door. She paused for a moment, looking back at him one last time. You taught me how cruel love can be, Ryan. But you also taught me how strong I can become. For that, I thank you. And then, she walked out. Outside, the evening sky was painted with shades of orange and purple. Emma took a deep breath of the cool air. For the first time in years, she felt light. She felt free. Her heart no longer ached. Instead, it was full of hope, for her students, for her dreams, for the future she would build on her own. As she walked down the street, her steps were steady and full of confidence. Inside the house, Ryan sat in silence, broken. His friends' voices echoed in his head, mocking him. The laughter that once felt like victory now sounded like poison. He whispered to himself, I thought I won. But I lost the only thing that mattered. The days that followed were different for both of them. Emma continued to rise, becoming a respected teacher, inspiring children, living with dignity and peace. Her story was no longer about betrayal but about strength and survival. Ryan, on the other hand, carried his guilt everywhere. He tried to work, tried to smile, but nothing filled the emptiness Emma had left behind. People around him noticed the change. The once arrogant Ryan was now quiet, lonely, and full of regret. But life is like that. It teaches through pain. And Ryan had learned the hardest lesson of all. Love is not a game. Hearts are not toys. And once broken, trust can never be rebuilt the same way. Years later, Emma was seen walking with a group of her students, laughing happily. She looked peaceful, confident, and content. She had built a life without Ryan, and she had no regrets. Ryan watched her from a distance once, his eyes full of tears. He wanted to run to her, to say sorry again, but he didn't. He knew it was too late. Instead, he stood silently, whispering to himself, I will love her, for the rest of my life, even if she never knows. And that was the stunning twist. The bet that once began as a cruel game ended with Emma stronger than ever, and Ryan broken forever. Emma had lost nothing. She had gained herself. Ryan had won the bet, but lost the only prize that mattered.